what happens when the carefully constructed rules of society just disappear. When every adult figure vanishes, when the structures we rely on crumble. What really comes out from inside us? Today we're doing a deep dive into William Golding's classic, that allegorical novel, Lord of the Flies. Our mission isn't just to, retell the story. It's to unpack its really powerful, often unsettling messages about human nature, civilization's fragility, and that incredibly thin line between order and, well, chaos. We'll be using a detailed summary and analysis, trying to look beyond maybe what you remember from school and explore some enduring truths. It's amazing. This story, first published back in 1954, it still feels so incredibly relevant today. It's less an adventure story, more like a psychological experiment, really, played out right in front of us.
That's a great way to put it. A psychological experiment.
Hmm.
Golding didn't just, write a story. He built this perfect microcosm, a pristine, isolated island designed to strip away all that societal conditioning, that veneer, and just expose the raw, fundamental bits of the human psyche.
Yeah.
And the results, as you said, are, well, they're profoundly unsettling.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. Golding drops us right into it, doesn't he? This group of British schoolboys, they survive a plane crash during wartime, and bam, they're stranded. Deserted tropical island, no parents, no teachers, no police, just them. But the really striking thing, at first anyway, isn't immediate chaos. It's their initial drive for order. It's almost instinctive. They don't just go wild straight away. They try to replicate the society they left behind. So you get Ralph, right? He's got this charisma, this sense of fair play, and he gets elected chief pretty quickly. He sort of embodies that democratic ideal. Then there's Piggy. Physically weak, maybe, but intellectually strong. He stands for reason, science, the voice of intellect that often gets ignored. And Jack, head of the choir boys. Initially, he takes on hunting, a practical role. But you can feel it, can't you? That undercurrent, a desire for power, a different kind of leadership. It's there from the start.
Yeah, you really can. And it's that initial structure building that's so fascinating.
Yeah, like the symbols they grab onto. Symbols of hope, of reason. The conch shell, for instance. It's not just a pretty shell they found. It immediately becomes this powerful symbol. Law, democracy, respectful discussion. You hold the conch, you get to speak. A simple, clear rule.
Right, tangible.
And Piggy's glasses, just, spectacles. But they're essential for lighting the signal fire, so they become this symbol of knowledge, of science, ingenuity, and maybe most importantly, their hope for rescue, their link back to the civilized world.
It's really striking, isn't it, how quickly, how instinctively they try to set up this mini-society. They mirror adult things like elections, assigned roles, even with no adults around. And what's really insightful, I think, is Golding suggesting this isn't just learned behavior. It points to maybe an innate human drive for order, for rules, for some kind of governance. It's almost like a biological need to avoid that terrifying vacuum of pure anarchy.
Yeah.
They copy what they know, not because someone's making them, but from this deep, maybe subconscious need for structure.
Exactly. But of course, this fragile structure they built, it's immediately tested. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because despite those first attempts at organizing, tensions bubble up fast. The island becomes this pressure cooker. It exposes this fundamental split in, well, human priorities, maybe. The struggle between keeping order and just giving in to primal instincts. It starts almost right away.
You see with Jack and the hunters?
Yeah, Jack and his hunters, they get this growing obsession with hunting pigs. For meat, sure, food is obviously crucial for survival. But their focus, the thrill of the hunt, that visceral satisfaction, it often comes directly at the expense of keeping that vital signal fire going.
And that signal fire, it's such a potent symbol itself.
Totally. It's like a barometer for their grip on civilization.
Right.
At first, it's their beacon, their hope, their connection to rescue. But as discipline starts to slip, as priorities shift towards hunting, towards immediate gratification, the fire is one of the first things to go.
Yeah.
When it goes out, it's not just metaphorical hope diminishing. It physically shows their connection to the civilized world fading, like they're forgetting why they need it.
Collective amnesia almost, yeah.
And then fear starts to creep in, this insidious, shapeless fear. It spreads among the little uns, the younger boys. They start whispering about a beast.
Ah, yes, the beast.
Ralph and Piggy, they try the rational approach, try to explain it away logically. There's no beast. But Jack, he understands something different, something more primal about people. He grabs on to that fear. He doesn't try to squash it. He uses it strategically.
He manipulates it.
Absolutely. He positions himself as the protector, the hunter who will face this unknown threat. And that appeals to those deep-seated, irrational instincts that are starting to surface in everyone. It's a really cunning move, using fear to build his own power base.
And the tragic irony is just crushing.
Right. That the beast they're so terrified of turns out to be a dead parachutist,
Yeah.
a casualty of the adult war that put them there in the first
The
place.
symbol of the civilized world's own inherent violence.
Exactly. But the boys, they're so consumed by fear, by this growing superstition, they just can't see the truth. They don't grasp it.
This whole sequence, it really throws up a critical question, doesn't it? How easily can these abstract fears be,
Hmm.
well, manufactured, maybe,
Yeah.
and manipulated? And how quickly do immediate needs like food or this perceived need for protection,
Yeah.
how quickly do they overshadow long-term rational goals like rescue once real pervasive fear enters the picture?
Yeah.
It's a pattern you see everywhere, not just on a fictional island. You see it in society. Priorities shift dramatically under threat, real or perceived, and often reason gets sacrificed for something more visceral, more immediate, sometimes more aggressive. Golding shows Jack instinctively understanding this vulnerability. Fear is way more powerful than logic when people feel desperate.
Okay, so the next stage. This is the real turning point, isn't it? It's properly chilling. If the island started as a test, this is where the real horror begins to unfold. Jack's obsession with hunting, with power, it just grows and grows. And we see this profound transformation. It feels irreversible. The lines between boy and something else just blur completely.
Actually, a face paint.
The face paint. Yes. It's not just about camouflage for hunting, is it? It feels ritualistic. Like they're physically shedding their old identities, rejecting civilization, embracing this primal tribal thing. They form a separate tribe, a savage tribe. They completely reject Ralph, his democratic leadership, any remaining rules.
It's a deliberate break.
And then Simon, the tragedy of Simon. He's such a unique character, quiet, almost spiritual, deeply insightful, often alone, misunderstood.
A mystic, almost.
Yeah, and he's the only one who actually figures out the truth about the beast, that it's not some monster out there in the jungle. It's the darkness inside them, inside every human being. That's really the philosophical heart of the book, isn't it?
Absolutely. Golding's core message.
But when Simon tries, desperately, to share this revelation, to bring the truth out, the other boys are caught up in this frenzied, ritualistic tribal dance. They're fueled by terror, by superstition, and they mistake him for the beast, and they brutally kill him. What is it about that specific death? It's so horrific. Why does it encapsulate Golding's central point so powerfully? What does it force us to confront?
It's just packed with symbolic weight, that moment. Simon is the moral compass. He's the prophet figure, maybe, who sees past the surface fear right to the heart of the problem. His insight, his understanding of where the real evil lies, it's completely drowned out by the noise, by the fear, the tribalism. What's fascinating isn't just the murder itself, but his total inability to communicate that truth, or rather for the others to hear it, in the midst of that primal emotion. It says so much about how fragile reason and morality are, how easily truth gets suppressed or twisted when a group gives in to hysteria, to a collective delusion. Golding's showing us the most dangerous beast isn't out there. It's the one we nurture inside ourselves and collectively.
So, with Simon gone, with that truth brutally silenced, any last bit of order just disintegrates completely. The final fragile pillars holding up the little society just crumble. It leads to utter chaos, unchecked barbarity.
And Piggy.
Piggy, yeah. Remarkably, he stays with Ralph. He keeps desperately appealing to reason, clinging to what's left of their democratic setup. But even he becomes a target because of his intellect. Jack's tribe steals his glasses. And it's not just petty theft, is it?
No, it's strategic.
Right. They need them to control fire, so they hijack knowledge, scientific know-how, purely for brute power, for intimidation. It's intellect being physically crushed by force. And then the worst moment, the death of Piggy. It's just devastating. He confronts Jack's tribe one last time, still holding the conch, still trying to appeal to reason, hoping to wake up some tiny bit of justice or humanity left in them.
I'll stand for logic.
But Roger, Jack's lieutenant, who's become increasingly sadistic, he deliberately rolls a massive boulder down onto him, kills Piggy instantly, and that single violent premeditated act, it kills Piggy, the symbol of intellect and reason, and it shatters the conch shell at the same exact moment.
Yeah. The symbol of law, democracy, order, gone.
It's this incredibly precise, horrific image, a total collapse of everything they tried to build. And with civilization wiped out, Ralph is completely alone, hunted like an animal by Jack's tribe. And Roger's character, he started as just, a quiet, maybe slightly mean boy. Now he fully embodies cruelty, sadism, unrestrained violence. It's terrifying what unchecked power and the loss of all moral constraints can unleash.
If you connect that to the bigger picture, the destruction of the conch, the theft, and then irrelevance of Piggy's glasses, it's not just plot points moving forward, it's Golding making this stark declaration. When the symbols of intellect, science, democratic talk, when they literally crush what is left, for the boys or for any society.
Just primal instincts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Primal, aggressive instincts. It's Golding, showing us the terrifying, stark consequence of unchecked power, of abandoning reason.
Hmm.
The ultimate triumph of the primitive. He forces us to ask, what happens when we throw away the very tools of our intellect, the foundations of our agreements?
The climax is just horrific, this brutal hunt, Ralph running for his life. It seems hopeless. But then, rescue. Completely unexpected, yet Golding, he's such a master of these uncomfortable truths.
Hmm.
He makes sure even salvation carries this profound, unsettling message. It lingers.
The irony is almost unbearable.
Totally. Jack's tribe, in their savage hunt for Ralph, they set the entire island on fire. This destructive, out-of-control blaze meant to kill the last bit of civility. That's what attracts a passing naval officer. The very act of ultimate savagery brings rescue. The boys are saved, yes, but the relief is so bittersweet, it's tainted by what they've become.
And the officer himself.
Yeah, he's crucial, isn't he? Almost haunting. He represents the civilized adult world, the authority they were maybe unconsciously missing. But Golding specifically points out this officer is part of a larger war, a global conflict, where adults are busy doing their own sophisticated, widespread savagery.
Right, it broadens the scope immediately.
It highlights Golding's chilling conclusion. Savagery isn't just for kids on islands, it's everywhere. It's part of the human condition, even in the supposedly civilized adult world. And the boys, when they see this adult figure, they just break down crying, finally understanding the horror of what they did. That loss of innocence is complete, irredeemable. Golding's final statement seems crystal clear, brutally stark. Lord of the Flies is an allegory about us, about the human condition. Without strong societal structures, without consciously sticking to rules, without constantly cultivating reason, humans naturally slide back towards savagery, towards violence. The beast, he argues, isn't out there. It's not a monster. It's inside all of us, inherently.
And what's particularly sharp there is Golding insisting on the cyclical nature of it all. The adult world that the officer comes from, the one rescuing them. It's deep in its own global Lord of the Flies. A war with its own aggressive rituals, its own disregard for life, just on a much bigger, more destructive scale. Golding just forces us to face that deeply uncomfortable truth about humanity. That civilization's veneer is incredibly thin. And that beast isn't just something that happens to isolated kids. It's an ever-present lurking part of the human experience. It really makes you question how much of our own civilized behavior is truly deep-seated and how much is just. Well, a fragile result of the rules we live under, waiting for the right push, the right crisis to shatter.
So wrapping up our deep dive here, Lord of the Flies, it really remains this powerful, timeless look at human nature's duality, doesn't it? Our capacity for incredible order and utter chaos, for deep reason and terrifying primal instinct. And this isn't just a story about some fictional boys on an island. It's a mirror. It reflects parts of ourselves and the societies we try to build. How does this deep dive make you, listening now, think about the structures, the often invisible rules that govern your own life, or that delicate balance holding the world around us together, and considering Golding's really stark conclusion that the beast is, in fact, within all of us? What specific structures or values or maybe conscious daily efforts do you think are most crucial in our own lives, in our communities, to keep that beast in check? Is it just about having external authority, or is it something we have to cultivate more deeply inside? Or is it always just sort of lurking there, waiting for the conch to shatter, waiting for the signal fire to die out?